2, roll call, when you're ready, Amy.
Okay. Chairperson Geigo.
Here.
Vice Chairperson Cordes.
Here.
Members Anderson.
Here.
Sandal.
Here.
Fortune.
Here.
Simons.
Here.
And Moman.
Okay, item 3, pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4, moment of reflection and prayer. Does anyone have anything prepared?
Lord, lead our hearts and minds tonight as we go through our meeting. Bless our words and our actions. Amen.
Amen. Item 5, conflict of interest. Anything? Okay. What's that?
None that I was made aware
Okay. Item 6, approve agenda.
of. So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 7, new business. None? Item 8, approve consent agenda.
All motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 9, open forum. It stayed blank. Item 10, approve surplus items for disposal. Or is that?
Okay, just a minute. Sorry,
who else?
guys.
Amy,
We
you
are,
want that, or Andy?
yeah, trust me with this thing.
It's
Okay.
coming?
It's coming. Okay. Samara and Amy have put together a new spot, and this is, board files. You will need your state email to log into it, because, this, document, it'll be a living document and so forth with different items, but it'll also archive, so you'll be able to come back and look at this stuff a year from now.
I sent you guys a surplus list. Since that was sent, there was quite a bit of curriculum that was added, and Chuck, if you wouldn't mind talking about that curriculum, if it's even, we planned on surplusing it for disposal, but.
Yeah, the teacher's manuals and the reading and the lesson maps and all that stuff, that's are from old series. And they're books that we don't use anymore. And typically, those can't be sold or nobody will buy them very easily. So those are something that we can just throw away. The one thing on there that is worth money that I don't know if we should throw away is the table tennis pack that they have in special education, and they're not using it now, so I don't know if that's something that we could try to sell or see if they can use in a classroom for a party day, or if we wanna just see if maybe PE would use it, I don't know, but I don't feel comfortable throwing that away, so. Of the others.
Homecoming games.
What's that?
Homecoming game, maybe.
I just don't feel comfortable throwing that away, cause it's pretty nice shape, but the books and the lesson maps and stuff, that stuff is outdated, and I don't think we'll be using that. And typically, those kind of things aren't
You have stuff on the
resold.
These are old, okay, right?
Those are the ones that have already been surplus.
Okay, alright. So like I said, they're setting up this site so you archive information you can go back and look at.
But a lot, there is quite a bit of technology on there that are obsolete. Right?
Yeah, I can visit with you about them, but they're really the only things I've put on at this time are things which have been out of use. There's a program that the state asked me to run on devices that had not even been logged into. You can test how long they've been logged into. I was finding things haven't been logged into for 5 and 6 years, and so those things I got rid of. And other than that, I've not even tried to get rid of things which have recently been in use, which we could get resold. Right now, these things are so old that they're like, it's out of control. We need to clean it out before we can clean it out, if that makes sense.
And then the copiers, they just got replaced this week. We can get them hauled off and taken care of for free, or if we keep them and they take a dump on us, we get to pay for the disposal.
Can't you just put them in the dumpster?
We just started that new lease program on board, right?
Yeah,
So in the future, when we do get new copiers and printers like that, we won't own them. So we won't have a disposal license.
But the company in the school will be taking them now if you're.
Yep, and they recycle them.
so maybe you could get 10 more copies, maybe you can get 10,000 copies, but
That's the plan for them to come get them.
yeah, they're gonna come get them on Friday.
So you need a motion to approve?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
With the exception of removing the
Table tennis.
paper.
No.
pens.
We can surplus it, I just don't wanna throw it away.
Oh, I got ya.
Yeah, I don't wanna throw it away,
You guys can have an opportunity to buy it tonight.
the books for your kids or grandkids or something. No, the books we're gonna throw away, cause those won't, but, we can surplus the table tennis, it just, I don't wanna throw it away.
You want it, don't you?
Yeah, he wants it in his basement.
No.
Well, I feel like if the PE could use it, I mean, why not just remove it from surplus and put it in with our PE equipment?
We're gonna ask them and then we can just put it on next month and surplus if nobody wants it.
Yeah.
So,
So we're gonna remove that for tonight from the list and then
Okay,
see if anyone wants
this
it.
is, I'm just gonna highlight it right now. Okay, maybe.
Okay, we can go on the color.
Where's the color thing?
Was that a second?
There we are.
Yes.
I second.
There we
Rich,
Any more discussion? All clear what we're doing? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 11, vote for South Dakota High School Athletic West River at Large representative.
Okay, we're having another runoff, and because we still keep getting ties, I know that the runoff is between Kelly Mesmer from Hardin County and Todd Palmer from Sturgis Brown, and you guys voted for Kelly Mesmer last time. What do you think now?
Same.
Okay?
Have a motion?
Yeah.
Okay. There a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item 12, live ticket huddle discussion.
Okay, I'm bringing this up one last time, and then but I do, after spending some time researching and on the phone and working with Samra and Lex, I think it would be to our benefit, to invest in live ticket and own that equipment. So I'm not necessarily looking for a motion, but maybe a consensus that we can take it to the budget committee. And also Huddle, I think, has, many opportunities for our students. Yes, mainly athletics, but also a lot of college scouts are going through that program too, so, I guess you can link it up to some of the academic opportunities too. So, we We have budget committee on Monday, and I would like to take these two items to the budget committee. ESSER funds can pay for, the live ticket camera and the person filming, because we can, link that justification into, an at-risk situation, you gotta watch something from home, whereas the huddle, I'd have a hard time linking it to ESSER, but it would come out of general. 2,000 of it would be paid by the booster fund.
For a total of 6.
6,000, yes. So it would be 4,700 for the equipment for live ticket, budgeted around 2,500 out of ESSER for, the camera person, and then 6,000, and I would say out of the general fund, for the huddle.
So total dollars is what?
See, 12, see, what is that, 17,000?
What's the life of all the equipment? Does anyone know that?
Well, that was, I'll let Mrs. Trask take care of that question.
We asked them about the life of the equipment, and they said that, that they seem, it was my understanding that the equipment is very well packaged, it should be fine. You can still call them if something goes down before game time. I'm talking live ticket now. And, cameras are not an expensive item, because to replace a camera would be the, all you have to do is be sure that it's HDMI out, a certain type of camera, and then any camera will work with the system. The big ticket item is the large box, which is where the most of the money is coming into, and that is the one that does mixes the video and puts the film on there with all the advertisement stuff like that, that makes it really nice. And it was my understanding that they would cover failure of that. I'm not sure the timeline, but the only time the equipment has gone down has been when it has been physically damaged or dropped, and now they've taken care to address that. I can't tell you any more than that, because it's never, since we have been using the equipment has never crashed.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, however, whatever it was, 3-4 years ago, when we had the grant from Gold West and we bought the cameras, did we find those cameras or where they ended up?
This is what we found. Camera found, just information, there was 2 cameras, there was $318 a piece, or for both of them, we don't know. It was on a scratch piece of paper, and the problem with these cameras is we need the HDMI
out.
out, and
Right, so they were supposed to be returned, so I'm wondering what happened to the grant money? That's where I'm wondering if Golden West, if they are for Huddle. So what does Huddle's cameras cost?
those are part of the subscription, and they were not itemized out.
That's the
If I could address that,
Cause we have an $8,000 every year, correct? Cause that's the way I look at this. Huddle subscription is $8,000 every year. So,
For the increased subscription, last year we only paid $1,400.
1,400? Cause I thought he said it was over. Okay, so we only paid 1,400 last year, and that came out of
That came out of general fund.
general fund, okay. So the cameras for Huddle would be how much?
I asked if we could just buy the cameras straight out, because that would come out of capital outlay, and they said no,
So basically, we're renting them every year,
they're a lease camera.
and they come put the cameras up, or,
And we should have invited you in on the conversation. No, we don't know.
yeah, we asked all the questions we could think of.
There's one here, isn't it? It's out the football field or something.
One has arrived, one is in our possession. I don't know that it has been mounted or installed wherever. I've had nothing to do with it so far.
Yeah,
I will say that there's been a lot of talk on the technical listserv across the state. This is a very popular item that they're moving toward.
Right, I just think $8,000 a year is a lot to spend where you're renting the cameras. You never own it.
Yeah, I wanna, can I retract just a minute? Some of the sports teams did increase their package this year, and that came out of TNA. But what came out of general fund was the $1,400 last year.
Okay. So, can you tell us what came out of the TNA fund, or?
It's gonna take me a second.
That's fine.
Looks like 1,500.
That came out of
TNA.
football,
Boys
or that?
basketball and girls basketball.
Okay, so total, that's what came out, is 1,500, okay.
And they used that increased, Lex talked about it when he spoke about the assist, and it can
Yeah.
track the different statistics or whatnot.
Which it does now, currently, with that subscription.
Yeah, but we don't have that, so we haven't
Right.
paid for anything this year,
Right, I'm just asking, they did that last year with that,
with just girls and boys basketball.
okay.
It wasn't with football.
To me, I feel like Huddle should be paid out of the TNA accounts. I don't feel like, when we're sitting here talking about this, I feel like that should come out of the TNA. If the volleyball is using it, football is using it, basketball, that's where that should come from. It shouldn't be coming from the school because it benefits those specifically. Sports Ticket Live, I would say, is probably a different deal. Or live ticket. Whoops, whatever, yeah.
Why is there a difference?
Because Huddle goes for this, that's the video, the cameras are in the gym and at the football field. So it doesn't benefit your plays or your wrestling or your gymnastics. It benefits,
Wrestling and gymnastics, yeah.
Yeah, but it benefits,
not Huddle.
if I'm,
Stats are on there though.
if I'm understanding the lane, but, and this is how I look at, live ticket, everybody in the whole country can watch. And that means that our families at home can watch. Huddle is set up more so that the coaches can figure out statistics and they can watch game film and break things down. And
I
that's
mean,
where,
just cause we don't wrestle here, don't mean we can't get stats on other wrestlers that have Huddle and stuff.
But if our
But-
cameras aren't videoing it,
Somebody else's cameras.
right, but are we gonna we're not gonna have a camera at the powerhouse. It's only what's in the gym or on the football field.
but
Go right there, Sam.
Okay, if I could speak, Elaine, the Huddle, right now, we put football film on Huddle, and it's done because we've gotten a volunteer to take film. If we wanted to go over and film wrestling over at the wherever, we could take the film and put it on there. The 2 cameras that we're getting are attached because there are a lot of, it would be easy to film with no camera people in the gym, easy to film out at the track. So those are the 2 stationary cameras that film themselves. But anything else in this, the package that we're looking at is not limited to the number of groups and things. It does not have to be athletic groups. It can be the drama groups. It can be the, whatever groups we have here, oral interp groups. They can have film, they can go back, analyze their stuff there. It's not going to give you assists and things like that, but we still have the capability of uploading video into those specific groups that would have a coach of sorts and have the kids watch it and analyze their stuff and see what's happening with that. It's not just a sports thing. And Huddle could be blocked as far as I can tell, in what my understanding, you don't have the copyright issues because it's not live feed to the world. It is a tool for you to analyze your own stuff. The benefit of it is, yes, you are able to feed it out to Live Ticket and feed it to other people.
Right, but even even your plays and stuff all have TNA accounts. So if they're accessing it and using it, then that's where that should come from. That's
Okay.
that's my feeling personally. If your coaches are using it, then it should come out of the TNA account versus the school paying for $8,000. And if you break it up and he wants that, I mean, if you're breaking up $8,000, that's not that much. If you get buy-in from your plays, your gymnastics, your wrestling, your football, $8,000 really is not that much for them to cover out of their TNA accounts. It's a benefit to your extracurriculars.
Unfortunately, with the TNA funds though,
Mhm.
as a board, you cannot dictate how that money is spent.
I would agree, that's why I'm saying,
You're just recommending.
that's what I'm recommending, is
If they
go-
want it, they would
Yeah.
have to
Yes.
be part.
Oh, Spencer, what do you think?
I disagree.
Okay, I'm here for a consensus.
I think it's all, should be paid by the school. I mean, it's all part of extracurricular activities and coaches using both. I don't see the difference between the two.
Out of the athletic fund.
Yeah.
It's a tool like a basketball.
Exactly.
You guys?
I think it's a lot of money. Maybe it's worth it. Still trying to decide. You know?
But you're saying that can be all uploaded to live feed, or to live ticket, sorry. So then everybody in the community would be benefiting, so maybe it should be coming from the general fund.
That's where I could see, that's where I would agree. If everything that you are using on Huddle is benefiting your public, and you're using it to Sports Ticket Live, then I'm in agreement. But if it only benefits those kids that the coach is using it and accessing it, then that should be coming from their TNA account. If you're using it and everything, to me, it's either all or none. Either you're using all of it and it's all going out to the public can all view it, then I can see the school paying for it. If it's not, then it should come, I just feel like we foot the bill for so much athletics that there comes a point where if this is a benefit to those kids, then they should realize that. They're gonna benefit when they go to college. It's worth it to them. When you're talking about scholarships, I agree with that.
Is there any kind of revenue projection back, but that's just from live ticket revenue?
The revenue is from live ticket. And that's where Lex was bringing in this revenue, well, would that revenue cover the expense of it right now? No, and that's why I had him sit down and make a projection.
The revenue wouldn't pay for it this year, but would it pay for it next year? Maybe not.
It's like 3 years from now, it would be.
Well, it'll pay for itself. If this board
Live
decides.
ticket would, or revenue would cover the?
The revenue would
Revenue
cover
would cover
the-
everything. The
Both
Huddle
of them together, the Huddle subscription and the.
is the way I understood it, yes.
I don't know, like your philosophy, Lane, then the athletic field should have been just, track and football then.
Well, you look at what we spend on track and football compared to what we spend on.
I know, but you can't ever keep things on an even keel.
Right, and that's why I'm saying, you can't just keep doling out money. At some point, you want these kids to see the benefit of this. And I feel like, look at this is, you say to these groups, this is what we need this year. This is what we're gonna raise money for. It benefits you in the long run, and this is what, you can go to your public and say, this is what we're raising money for.
What programs aren't gonna get benefited by this?
Well, just like I was saying, I mean, you've got your installed camera on the football field, and you've got your installed camera here, and I don't see, that's my point, if you're gonna use it, all of it goes to live ticket, then great, cause it's benefiting your public. It's just like our TV, when we had the channel, and they can view that stuff, the plays and everything else, but if all it's benefiting is those groups, then I don't feel like the school and our taxpayers should be footing that bill, when we already provide the facilities and everything else for them.
I've got a question in, like, regards to, well, like, let's take wrestling for example. What is Huddle going to do for you in terms of breaking down wrestling compared to football? That you couldn't see on Live Ticket, that you can rewatch on YouTube? I mean, I'm just asking a question, I don't know.
I'm not sure either, cause I don't even know for sure what all Huddle does, but.
Well, for football, it'll break down tackles, assists, it'll break down offense. So you take something like wrestling, I don't see how it does something that Live Ticket doesn't do and just broadcast the event, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Is there a benefit to, I mean, I can see the benefit for football and maybe basketball, but there's some sports where it's still a video.
I don't know.
You see
how
what
it
I'm
works.
saying?
I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
If it breaks down tackles and assists, you know.
I would
breaks down
assume that-
kills.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be, yeah.
Kills and takedowns and.
Maybe it does.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it does.
As far as I know, it does every sport.
Does Phillip have it?
I know Wesleyan Springs does.
I mean, how many schools have it?
I looked around, well, from the sounds of it, to get the actual subscription to get in, you have to have a username to get in. I mean, I looked around and just looked up, you know, Phillip High School Football Huddle, Kadoka High School Football Huddle. The only one I could find anything on was Wall. We've got all of our games. Jones County, nobody else did. I don't know if I just didn't look far enough, but, you know, in terms of the recruiting, there could be some benefit there.
Yeah, that's what, they takes the film can be uploaded straight up to the universities. Where it
Right.
used to be back in the day, you guys would get
You'd
pieces
send
of
them
it
the video.
and send them, make them a disc.
Yeah.
Now you can just piece it on that software and send it.
So that could go for any program, or whether it's plays or.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was common in my day to upload a YouTube video or highlight reel, and you probably send that to a
Mhm.
coach somewhere, but.
Yeah, help kids make various DVDs.
Seems like there's a lot of this is all tied together there.
I just need a consensus, even if you said half,
You're
I
wanting to
was
take
just
it to the
thinking that
budget
myself.
committee, is that what
take
you're
it to
saying?
the budget committee,
What did we spend last year on?
$1,400.
Now we're looking at
TNA
17.
accounts covered
Plus the
15.
15, so it'll be 29 total.
Well, I think we should at least take it to
The
the.
kicker is we've never paid for Live Ticket. Live Ticket come, like, my first year on the board and said, we want $4,800, you guys get half the advertising, we're like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna do it, and all of a sudden, Live Ticket's like, that's fine, we'll do it ourselves. And I could never figure out how they were making it work without us paying, but, you know, realize they're keeping all the revenue from advertising.
I can say that 3 years ago, when Live Ticket came to Wesleyan Springs, we gave them the nod and spent the money. And we get a they get a pretty sizable check in January.
And I'm good with Live Ticket. I mean, that I can see.
It's the huddle part.
It's the huddle part
It's
that,
$8,000.
right.
I'm all in on Live Ticket, I love the interface, it's cool to go see the games, and you can see the games back to.
So how did we get to 17,000, cause Live Ticket was 4,700, wasn't it?
Okay,
So-
Live Ticket is 8,000, Booster Club will pay 2,000, so it's 6,000.
Live Ticket's 8,000 and Huddle's 6,000.
Huddle.
I think you mean Huddle.
Huddle is 8,000, Booster Club is paying 2,000.
So that's,
So we have 6,000 left.
Right, but how did we get to 17,000?
well, that's just for the huddle part, the
That's why
Live
I'm
Ticket.
tired, and I put them all together, and I get too very good math.
We said 2,500 for the person to run Live Ticket. That's 8,500. And then, what was the cost of the camera?
The camera system was 4,700.
15,200.
But that's for the camera system for
The-
sports tickets.
That's Sports Ticket Live.
Yes.
So that's like a one-time deal.
Yes, Huddle is not, it's a subscription.
That's gonna be $8,000 a year.
So yearly, you're gonna pay 10,500 for your huddle and your camera operator come the following year.
But aren't we talking about getting revenue at some point too?
There is some revenues, and the nice thing about with ESSER funds, is we can pay for the live ticket equipment, I just can't pay the subscription out of ESSER funds. So that's where we're at, is $6,000 on a Huddle subscription.
But ESSER funds are one-time money, right?
Correct,
Which this live ticket's one-time money.
correct,
So that, we're saying that just kinda washes.
that's gonna, I can take care of
The
that.
huddle is what we're debating.
Was there talk about automatically moving everything from Huddle to live ticket then?
Yes,
Is that,
yes, with a 15-minute delay. You set it up, and
okay,
it feeds right up to Live Ticket.
so,
I mean, if that's the way it happens, then I can see where you're gonna pay another $6,000, but if it solely just goes to your football kids, or your basketball kids, or your volleyball kids, then I think they should be paying for that, because it really does, it's their benefit.
Could I say something here? Honestly, I think that the way it has gone and the popularity of it, everything will be on film. All of the activities will be on film and shown live. They will. But the Huddle adds to it that they will, it will give an added benefit to the kids now and feed it the same way. It's gonna be the same thing, except they will get more analysis and more stuff there. And the way this is going, there is no more cap on the number of people or groups that can use the Huddle, and we can put more than just the athletics on there and broadcast them on live ticket, which has not been done in the past, and give them the ability to analyze and go back and watch their stuff on film. So I think it helps them.
So the $8,000 would include everybody, cause I thought it was higher than that when he had his presentation. It is everything.
8,000 gives you the umbrella of as many as you want.
Mhm.
We might even try it in a school board.
Live.
Stats on the school board.
But do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah,
right?
I-
These kids are raising money, and it's nice for your community to say, oh, they're actually putting something forward as well. And they're going out and raising some of their own money to benefit themselves, because sports does benefit themselves, and I feel like, you have more responsibility, you can see the benefit of it.
And the ESSER funds can only be used for something COVID pandemic related, right?
Wrote a lot of justifications, and that would really be stretching with Huddle, whereas.
No, that's what I mean,
Yeah, with
This
live ticket, I can
4,700
say,
that we're
yeah,
using
we got
on-
community members that'd be compromised by coming in and watching a game.
right? So we're really only looking at 10,500 out of the general fund. Minus the 2,000 that the booster club's gonna pay, so
Yeah.
we're at 8,500.
But it's not coming out, the live ticket stuff is coming out of the ESSER fund.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's taken care of,
We're talking $6,000 out of the general.
For
plus the
Huddle.
2,500.
no,
No,
Yeah.
that's
That's
covered
ESSER
for
too.
ESSER too.
cause then we can say.
But that's a one-time,
So then
Well, for
next
3
year, we
years,
have
you
3 years
Right.
at the 2,500.
yeah.
Yeah, but at some point, Lex made it sound like it's a wash.
Right, because we're talking expense side, we haven't really touched on the
The revenue.
potential for the revenue.
And this is an estimate too, I mean, that's where you come
But
in.
yeah,
Right.
you're right, it could be less, it could be way more, we don't know.
Yeah,
But the way that live ticket, explained to Lex was the potential, like, of $10,000 a year, essentially. I mean, but that's,
So you're wanting a consensus to move forward to take this to the budget committee, not a decision tonight to do it? Is that what you're
Yeah,
asking?
or do you want me to just toss it? I mean, I'm feeling like live ticket is a go. Take it to the budget committee. Okay, Huddle, the 6,000.
Well, I guess,
Send it to the TNA, send it back to, or were you willing to pay half of it and TNA the other half, or do you feel like it's a tool for everybody, or?
well, I kinda wonder, how do we know if it's a tool for everybody till we try it for a year?
That's what I'm thinking, that we should try it a
You know,
year.
we
and-
try it a year and make sure that that stipulation's out there, that it's being used amongst everybody. And if not, we're not gonna pay the lease next year.
As long as it's being posted to Live Ticket.
Right.
Everything is being posted to Live Ticket, then I say go ahead.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and put it in the budget, take it to the budget committee. Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
And I'm gonna clarify just for note taking and minute purposes, consensus from the board was to proceed with huddle with the stipulation it benefits all sports and activities.
I would say all video is posted to Live Ticket.
No, cause the camera is also gonna be, the live ticket camera is also gonna be picking some of that up too. We're gonna be using that equipment too. And we, you know, she's using her cell phone to do it.
Right.
So that would be a camera instead of your cell phone.
Yeah, I mean, live ticket will take any of the options.
I think you're fine with what we have.
Okay. Ready to go to item 13, approve elementary handbook.
Okay, I sent out the draft several weeks ago, and the things that I've taken out of the elementary and Big White handbooks are, transportation to the church release, cause we don't wanna drive bus this year again. And then the other was I took the lunch and breakfast prices out. And then at the end, for acceptable use policy, we made changes that reflect our move away from saving documents on the server to saving documents into the 2 cloud saving places. Is that how that goes? And then that's provided by the state, and then we also have to we also put in the acceptable use policy that the school will follow the state acceptable use policy. So those are the changes that I've made since I've sent out the drafts for you. That's for the elementary and Big White.
So where are the documents saved then?
They're saved on the OneDrive at the state, wherever where's that, Peter or Madison or whatever.
Madison, there's
The
two,
Madison.
the state provides 2 cloud services for us because we are a K-12 school system, and they provide 2 cloud services. They provide unlimited Google accounts for the student, Google Drives, and they provide unlimited OneDrive. OneDrive takes care of all of your Office product, and Google is kind of proprietary, and Google Docs and Google whatever. So both places, the students have access to both places to store their things. And the state provides all the backup and stuff for that. This enables the students to save documents from one year to the next because every year the servers get overloaded and we clear them out so that we don't get too much stuff on there. Well, now we have moved away from the servers and storage on the servers, and the students starting this year will be trained in how to work online.
And do you think that's a good deal to save all of their stuff to the state servers? I mean, that kind of seems like, and I'm just asking because to me it kind of seems like, wow, that's a big jump.
I think it's an excellent idea. I think it's absolutely excellent idea because they keep all of their equipment updated, and just because the state is storing all of their things for them as a backup does not mean that they can't store their own. There are kids with drives that they can download onto that. They can put them on their C drive of the computer. They can keep them there. Of course, the computer's awfully fragile. This does not mean that that is the only place a document can be. It is just another place where we have unlimited storage that someone else is keeping an eye on. I think it's fabulous.
I agree. I just worry that, to me, I'm kind of one of those privacy people, and you're sending all of your stuff to the state.
It's more secure at the state than it is in here.
That is, and then it saves the district money in the long run.
Well, and
Because we don't have to have all those sizable servers to deal with and so forth as well. I mean, as far as privacy goes, you're talking about assignments and,
I just know, looking at previous things, that the state you know, you're talking about student identifiable information and it's stored with that person. And to me, I find that just kinda creepy, to put it nicely. I don't know.
We have that for campus, and everything we've ever done has gone that
State
way.
covers that.
Yeah, I know.
We've always had their emails in the same situation. It's always been on the cloud.
I know. Yeah. I just asking, just good information.
So that's where we are with, the, Big White and elementary handbooks. So, any questions? You guys come up with anything in either of those handbooks?
Need a motion to approve them separately?
Yep.
I move to approve the elementary handbook.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approved Big White handbook.
I'll make a motion to approve the Big White handbook.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And in the past, the past couple school board meetings, the only changes that we really need to make, were to change dates for, when we want the surveys to come back, change dates of when parent-teacher conferences are, change dates of when report cards come out, so.
Is that for the Title I or is that?
That's for both Title I, yeah.
Okay. Approve elementary Title I handbook.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 16, approve middle school Title I handbook.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
High school handbook's not on there, are we gonna wait for another time, or Mr. Reagan's, or Andy's, report?
What now?
The high school handbook's not on there to be approved,
No, it's not.
are we gonna wait and just do it during Mr. Reagan's or Dr. Pittman's report?
Yeah, Mr. Ragland would be a great candidate for that.
Sure.
Okay. Item 17, I'm assuming that means Wall School District Communicable Disease Prevention Plan.
Yeah, we met last Tuesday night, Tuesday evening, and went over the starting well plan that you had last year. And part of ESER 3 is we have to have documentation that we had, taken it to the community for feedback and then had it approved at the school board. So we took it to it, we developed a task force, committee to look through it. And as we went through it, instead of calling it a COVID-19, starting well plan, we called it a communicable disease protection plan, and using diseases like COVID-19 as an example. And you'll put, what I sent you, what you see in yellow is the rewritten part, so I can't necessarily go in there and cross out and add, because it, there's so many changes. But you will see pieces that were taken out, attendance incentives, will be dropped. Parents were, recommending to do it, now I better back up. This plan will only go in effect if we start having cases of COVID. We will start school as normal when school starts. Okay, when we see cases and we look like we need to have some action to go in, then we will handle it, bring in this plan. Just like if we had, some other communicable disease like tuberculosis or something like that, then we would use this plan as well. So we did some rewording, we took out some pieces that were, repetitive. And then, when I was in Washington Springs last year, one thing that we did do, and that was, instead instead of sending kids that were close contacts home, we had them wear the mask for 14 days. I mean, they had the option. Now, this is a 4-day school week, and it has been shown that with the 4-day school week, there was a much greater drop in number of close contacts. So I don't know if we would need to do that or not. It was kind of amazing looking at the data, the difference between 4-day and 5-day school weeks and the number of close contacts. Any questions on this?
Somebody to approve that?
I need to approve it.
I move to approve the, Wall School District Communicable Diseases Prevention Plan.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 18, approve open enrollments.
We have 2 open enrollments, 2022-1, 2022-2.
And you emailed those out, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Can we look at?
Can we pass it around? I know we can't mention names in a open meeting.
Let's see here.
Oh, open enrollment. I'm sorry, I was thinking of something else.
I don't know, I normally don't have board members ask to see the open enrollment, you guys usually get excited.
Yeah, no, I was thinking it was the next item, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
I guess we passed, always looked at it, I don't know.
Yeah.
What is our open enrollment policy there then?
Unless we can prove that we can't handle them. The open enrollment goes till the last week in September, and then it's opened up 2 weeks and goes till the end of January.
We can deny people who've been expelled from school.
Well, yeah, if they've been expelled, then they can't re-enroll in. You can't re-enroll in any school district, public school district, so.
Okay, so we have 2 separate motions, correct? Or were those numbered again? Or you just wanna?
You can do open enrollment, both of them, 2022-1 and 2022-2.
Okay,
I'll make that motion. Numbers.
I'll second.
any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I need to sign this, right?
Here's the one person's eligibility we need to sign.
Oh.
Okay.
Item 18, or we did that, item 19, senior request for early graduation.
Okay, sent you 2 letters.
That's what I was thinking.
This afternoon, from 2 seniors requesting, to finish high school in January. They will be invited to come back for graduation in May. But they each have different circumstances, but they have worked with, Mrs. Sundahl to make arrangements to finish the, personal finance and the English requirement for the spring.
Administration good with it? Okay.
I'll make a motion. Honor their request for early graduation, or do we do each separate, or?
You can do both
Oh.
together, yeah, they're both the line, same line item.
Alright. Put them both down.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 20, concessions proposal.
Okay. Amy and, Bonnie and Sharon and I, and Lex, we sat down and met last Tuesday. Concession stands has become a problem as far as getting it covered and so forth. And, so we're looking at trying something new. And so we developed this proposal. And since we've already have the negotiated agreement and, the decisions made as far as junior class advisor and so forth, that maybe this coming year that we would look at, the junior class advisors doing the ordering and the management of the concession stands and then take care of their concession stands for prom. But we'd also be looking at other classes signing up for a couple concession stands too. The reason that I'm bringing it to the board, that does impact your contracts you have with your other class advisors as well as your activity advisors, that we would be saying you need to sign up for some concession stands. So hopefully we get it covered. And the way I understand, VAX is also no longer taking over the volleyball, so it's gonna be a year-long, covering these activities. Then we looked at, it would be a percentage of the total sales would go to that particular class that worked, and the other, chunk would go to the junior class to do more ordering and management.
Does this include the football concessions or just the?
All of them.
All of them, okay.
And this can start this year or cannot?
Well, we're bringing this to you in August so we can start it this year. Now, what this could end up, depending the success of it or failure. I've also reached out to superintendents that have hired, contracted a concessions manager. And that would change the percentage junior class advisor would bring in, and we just couldn't crack open and then see the value of opening up the negotiated agreement right now and making that change. It could be something of value for, next spring, that we add that position and then change the percentages on the class advisors. And, that would also give us time to talk to, like, Kadoka and Newell and some of these schools that are doing that have a concessions manager. So this is kind of, the in-between proposal.
I think it's worth a try.
Yeah.
Do you need a vote on that or just to go?
I would like one, just because if one of the advisors comes back and say, hey, I didn't sign up for this, that you as a
That's fair.
board decided that, duties is assigned on your contracts.
I make a motion that we approve trying the new approach for concessions.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 21, ESSER 3 budget.
Okay, what do we have? $269,000, that we need to use, in general cost expenditures, and then in direct student cost, was it 72,000, or was that? We have more on our wish list than, what we get, but these are things that we sat down as an administrative team and just started brainstorming different things that we would use ESSER funding for. This doesn't necessarily mean that this is a final budget, but we do need to bring it up to put it on our GMS on August 20th. We will bring this to the grounds as well as the budget committee to take a look at more in depth. But this gives us a start that we can upload on the 20th and we can amend it as we go over the next 3 years. We have until 2024 to use these funds.
So, you say until 2024, so can we raise the camera operator budget?
We
Or
can
do
do
you
that.
just-
We were
is
just
it-
brainstorming,
yeah.
throwing down, you know, and then if things like the, GPS filtration that goes into the HVAC, you know, that's something that if, we wanted to use ESSER funds on, we wanna make sure we get that ordered early, cause they're about 6 weeks out. And we have playground turf, we have, you know, things that are probably gonna need to be more evaluated closer, but, just so that we can have something to upload on the 20th, we needed to just sit down. And, Mr. Sikora and Mr. Ragland have some really good ideas as far as, the direct student costs. Maybe even look at it like an, Edgenuity license or two, so we can, those students that need some credit recovery and so forth, that can be bought out of these ESSER funds. The Friday Academy, the Parents' Night, that was, you know, if we wanted, to focus on a different, a specific reading strategy throughout all the classrooms, we could put on a supper and have a Parents' Night. Anything else you wanna add to that, or any questions?
And the reason why there's direct student costs is it is a requirement of the ESSER three money to use 20% of that total on direct student costs.
Good.
Works for me.
Okay.
Approve that or not, that's a.
I'm taking it to committee next,
Oh,
and
gotcha.
again, this is found on the school website, on the
Yep.
school board, under board files.
Okay. Item 22, elementary principal report, Mr. Sikora.
My stuff was the handbook stuff, that's all.
Oh, okay.
Not anymore.
Any questions for
Do you
Mr.
have anything,
Sikora?
questions for me?
That was a record, huh?
Yeah. All right, item 23, middle high school principal report, Mr.
Thank you,
Ragland.
Mr.
Welcome.
Chair. First thing I'd like to say is, thank you. I've been here a week and a half. It's been very welcoming. Community's been very welcoming. I've really enjoyed learning everything that's going on. I still have an awful lot to learn. As far as the handbook, I looked at the version that had been submitted by Dan earlier in June to you, or submitted to someone. And then I looked at the revisions that were made last month. And so, there weren't very many, the ones that I can remember off the top of my head. There were some changes in verbiage from teacher responsibility to principal responsibilities, which all seem very appropriate and accurate. I don't have much context on any of the edits that were made, obviously, because those were made, decisions that were made from last year. But my review of the handbook and the edits that were made this summer, I had no concern. I don't know if you've seen those done, but those are the things that I've seen that concerns me. There was some question on the eligibility, but I thought that that information had come out and clarified the eligibility, which in my understanding is the eligibility hasn't changed from last year to this year. Okay. So, but
And
there
that
was some
my
confusion
question.
about that.
Yeah, and that was my question. I guess we had some discussion on that
Okay.
in executive session, I just was
some of the professional development that we'll be doing before school starts. And also beginning to build a track for the professional development that we'll use throughout the course of the year. Been given some pretty good information and some ideas about different things that the schools are looking for. So hopefully these things will work for that. My only goal is to make sure I don't feed water to them through a fire hose. So I'm gonna make sure that I can dial it back as much as I can and go slow and do things very well. So if you have any questions for me. I will say that I thought it was kind of a dirty trick that 2 days into it, I had to go all the way to Sioux Falls and come back. But yeah, I got over it.
Do we need a motion to approve the handbook then?
Yeah.
Have you seen the handbook?
Yeah, you've had. yeah.
Okay, that was my only
It just-
concern.
Just failed to, I forgot to put it on the
Okay.
agenda,
Okay.
it's been on the past agenda, so.
All right, that's fine then. I was afraid you hadn't seen it, so, thank you.
So is that a motion here?
Yes.
Second, any more discussion on the middle school, high school handbook? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Spencer, was that you?
Second.
Item 24, business manager report. This is where the meeting took.
Okay, we did get official word today that we will be able to offer free, lunches and breakfasts to the students, similar to last year. However, because of school lunch, national school lunch standards, we have to calculate, the prices each year for our adult or guest lunch prices. And, we are required to raise those this year. We were required to raise our adult lunch or guest lunch prices from $3.85 to $4.01. And I propose, cause I don't like pennies, to move it to $4.05. So that would be a 20-cent increase for guests for lunch. And then the adult or guest breakfast price is, the requirement is from $2.25 to $2.35, so a 10-cent increase for that. And because that is in our, official entities that you guys approved in July, I didn't have these prices yet, so I do need a motion in a second for that.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Alright, we will be sending in, our back-to-school packets that we send to all families. The news of this, we'll put it on Facebook that students will be receiving free, lunch and breakfast. And how that works is just, especially for your new board members, is we just get reimbursed through the, state that funnels, it's federal money that funnels through the state, so we get reimbursed for that. It's not something that we have to incur those costs with our funds, so.
So how does our funds look? I mean, I know we were over quite a bit before, you know, and then we had spent it down. They
We're
bought some
doing
equipment.
we're doing pretty good. That kinda leads, thanks for asking, that kinda leads into my next, report item is, today I submitted our required annual report, financial report to the state, and that includes the lunch and the, general sped capital outlay. And that was approved, and in that is, they look at our fund balances with lunch. And the lunch fund cannot exceed, a certain maximum, because it's not meant, for the school to make money off the students and the families. So we're not above that maximum, so we're fine. So far as, that would be a finding in my annual report, but the annual report was accepted and with no findings. So that's really good news. I was very excited about that. I was kind of doing a happy dance around the office today, so. And then our budget committee will be meeting on Monday at 5:30. I will be sending that out to you committee members. There has been some small changes throughout, just with different things that's come up with revenue and expenditures, but I will highlight those in yellow, so, and I'll explain that in the email I sent you, so. But, we will have to approve a final budget next meeting, as well as, levies that we plan on doing. But that will be, the budget committee will come out with a recommendation for the full board. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Amy? Thank you. Superintendent report.
Okay, the two hot items with superintendents right now are the alternative instruction, Senate Bill 177, as well as Measure 26. The Senate Bill 177 with alternative instruction that allows homeschool students to participate in any public K-12 activities has, recommended that we take a look at our current policies and what we allow, as well as, what does it say about our activities policies. If a student homeschools, they need to, decide what school district that they are in. If they're going to stay, if they're homeschooling in our school district, and that's where they're gonna stay, that's fine, but if they want to be a part of, activity in another school district, they do need to open enroll as a homeschool student at that school district. So we're just kinda waiting and seeing what kind of policy recommendations come out, from Associated School Boards and go from there. Measure 26, that's the marijuana or cannabis, I should be probably more politically correct. That, we will need a policy by November, and I'm waiting for recommendations to come out on that. But it is the caregiver to distribute, the non-smokable products, and that includes the E-form too, so, it would be a procedure to set up so the caregiver can come to the school and give their child the gummy, and they're recommending that the gummy's a clear thing that has a certain number on it, and, we can be grateful that we're not close to Flandre right now, because the Flandre is giving out cards. So those school districts around Flandre are having to deal with this on the first day of school, but we have some time to see what is coming out for recommendations and how we wanna handle it. They do have to have a card, that shows their medical need, and, let's see here. I think I got everything on, it's not a prescription. So, as far as what the amount is in the gummy, I shouldn't say gummy bear, it's just supposed to be a gummy. They want it not in the form of something that a kid would like, or a small child would.
So you said it's not prescription?
Not a prescription. There is a list of, medical conditions that you can get a card for.
So if a kid is,
The kid has PTSD.
right, so if a kid is like in a state of unteachable, what do you do? I mean, he's taken so many gummies and he's sitting in class.
Under the
eating nuts.
influence is still under the influence. Okay, that's where in our policy it would have to state, what are you giving this child, what is the amount, and so forth. I'm waiting to see what others, what's coming down from recommended from the Associated School Boards. But they would have to present a card that shows what the amount is. Now, as far as somebody that's loaded on gummies, and I'm not sure, any detection I've ever dealt with marijuana has been smell, so I'm not sure. But that's under the influence, and that goes against what our policy states.
A mess. Talk to people in Colorado and it's like, oh,
Well,
the
and,
nightmare's just coming.
yeah, and, you know, I know in Colorado, you had kids walking in the door with brownies, and there was different kind of things, but avoid some of those mistakes. But it'll be interesting as far as how, but we will need to make decisions as far as how we wanna handle it. Personally, I don't know why you wouldn't just give your kid the gummy before they come to school, but I don't know. I have a CDL, so I can't.
If there was a way within the recommendations of the state, that's where I put my support into.
Yeah, we would.
Then come in, but it's so bizarre.
Yeah, if we were a school district, a public school district, and we said we're not doing it, we'll get to be the first one to find out how long you'll be in a court case.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I do have one thing, and I don't know how, I was looking at your, strategic plan from last year. And, I'm wondering if you would be alright if I took it to the administrative team and we rewrote some of it and brought it back to you. Both the elementary and the middle school will be involved with the comprehensive needs assessment this coming year, and that's more of an academic based, thing that I went through with Western Springs that I think needs to be in here. There's other communication pieces and technology pieces that would fit in here if I rewrote it and brought back to you. Would you be okay with that?
Just so you know, that was never approved.
Yeah, I know.
So that probably isn't, I mean, that's probably a good thing to go rewrite it, I mean, and us to
But
relook at it.
I'm good with that.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah,
Alright.
do you have any questions?
Thank you. We do need executive session, correct?
For students. We don't have an employee,
I move we go to executive session according to SDCL 1-25-2.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries.